Hello.
Hello, hello. Hey, Kay, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
Doing well, thank you.
Well, the people that know you people I know that know you speak very highly of you.
Well, thank you for being here.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Crystal.
Hey, Crystal. Hey, Laura, how's it
Uh,
going?
Hi, happy Eclipse Day.
Happy Eclipse Day.
yes.
I did not plan that right, did I?
If you
Well,
see me looking out the window,
Yeah,
yeah,
if you see me just like pop outside for No, I think we'll be done before I mean, I think it starts like now, but I don't think like the main event is till after the boot camp is over, I think.
I
yeah,
think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
at least in my area.
I'm in Seattle, so we are not going to see it, but we had one like 5 years ago, and it was so cool. It
Oh
was
wow.
really weird.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in the path of one, so
Oh,
this will be
really?
interesting.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
it is. It's an amazing experience for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever been in one? Or like have you ever been in the path?
I have. Yeah.
Does the
It,
night like does it really turn into nightfall?
yeah, it really does. It really does. But
That's so
it's
crazy.
an eerie nightfall.
It
Wouldn't you?
gets it gets really, 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 really dark, but not like night dark.
But not like
Mhm.
nighttime dark. It's Twilight Zoney eerie dark. To me, it was anyway. It was beautiful too, but it was just so weird.
I know. Something you never see.
Mm-mm.
Or-
Yeah, and
I've
I
also
made glasses out of aluminum foil and some kind of weird thing, but it was cool. You could look directly at it
yeah.
and see the actual eclipse when you did it that way.
Yeah, and you can see then like the corona of the sun too around it as it's moving. I think it's called the corona. Anyway, I don't know, but that bright part is really amazing. And
Wow.
I've had the pleasure of also seeing the aurora borealis in Norway,
oh,
and
nice.
Ooh, that's
that
cool.
was just also like I can only imagine what people thought was happening before modern day times when we know what's happening, right? You look up in the sky and there's these waves of color flashing, zooming, and like I can only imagine what kind of this is where mythology comes from because like there's no way to explain this stuff. Anyway, it's exciting to me. Yeah.
They probably
Wow, yeah,
worship
I've
it.
never seen the Northern Lights. It's something for sure on my bucket list.
Yeah,
Mine
definitely.
too.
I got very lucky.
Awesome. Well, as everyone's joining, welcome, welcome. We were just chatting about the eclipse. So yeah, I'll just go maybe like 2 more minutes or so for everyone to join. But yeah, I mean that's really cool. I think all those like really cool like sky phenomenons are pretty interesting. I don't think I've ever seen the Northern Lights, but it's something for sure I'd love to see. I think the other place that I think is pretty interesting is there's a place I think in Norway that just never like the sun just never goes down.
Yes,
Um, that sounds really cool too.
it is. Night of the midnight sun, home of the midnight sun, and actually, there's a season in Norway where it just doesn't get dark for like 2 months on end.
Well, that's like Alaska. I was in
Yeah.
Alaska and was like 2 hours of daylight.
Wow,
So,
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I think I'd go crazy. I need night. I need
Yeah,
darkness.
Yes.
cool. Well, all right, let's go ahead and get started so I can make sure that you guys have enough time to go look at the eclipse. Uh, I know I got some messages right beforehand that some people are going to be catching the replay, so that's totally cool. Most likely, like if you've never been to one of these before, the way that it works is we go through over the next 5 days, we're gonna go through like 1 hour sort of sessions. Usually the first like 30, 45 minutes is like the actual training, and then the last 10 to 15 minutes or so is usually like Q&A. If we ever have more questions that need to be answered, usually we'll extend it like by another 30 minutes. So if it ever does go long, it might hit 90 minutes if we have a lot of questions. Um, the replays will be uploaded usually like 2 hours after the actual call happens, so it gives it time to render and us time to upload. And I think that's kind of it. So let me go ahead and share my screen and let's get started. before we get started, anyone has any questions or anything? Also, Cyril is in the chat. Cyril is part of our team, so if you do have any questions or anything, feel free to just drop it in the chat and we'll make sure to answer everything. All right, cool. Well, at least you can count on all the AI note takers to be here and not watching the eclipse. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. So this week we're really gonna cover sales and lead generation, mostly lead generation, especially on LinkedIn. I know that there's two types of businesses generally, B2B and B2C. The sales cycle is completely different for both. So I'm gonna cover that over the next couple of days. As you can see here today, we're gonna go through like how to create content that actually generates leads. On day 2, we're gonna cover B2C lead generation. B2C lead generation is pretty much, if you're selling to, for our purposes, we'll call B2C anyone when you're selling to teams of two decision makers or less. And then B2B is when you're selling to larger groups of decision makers, usually when you have like 3, 4, or 5 people involved or more. So that's what we'll cover in the first 3 days. On the 4th day, we'll cover AI voice appointment setters. So some of you guys might have already heard me talk about this, isolated or whatever it is, but I'm going to help you set up your AI agent. We'll go through that on the 4th day, essentially, depending on the business that you're running. These are helpful for automating your appointment setting, automating your customer support. So I'll show you how to get started with all of that. And then Friday, it'll just be an Ask Me Anything Q&A. So any questions that are still lingering, anything that we didn't cover, anything like that, we'll just go through it on Friday. Obviously, the calls are going to be recorded, but even though they're going to be recorded, I would still encourage you to show up live because realistically, we all have a million things going on. And when we put stuff like this off, the reality of us going back to watching it becomes like smaller and smaller and smaller every time. So if there's anything I can encourage you to do is like actually try to prioritize your time to show up here, go through this program with us together. There is a Slack group. We did a pop-up group for this week, so let me go ahead and grab the link really quick. So if you joined here, I added the ones that were already in the Slack, but if you join this link over here, just send me a DM. My handle inside of that Slack channel is Izzy, literally like this. Send me a DM and I'll add you into the AI sales bootcamp chat. That will be a shared chat for us over the course of the week for us to, share with each other our content, any activities that we do as a group, connect with each other, and so on and so forth. Are we good on that? Everyone's clear on the agenda? All right, cool. Perfect. So now here we go. Really quick about me, if you've never worked with me before. So I am a serial AI entrepreneur. In the past year, I've launched a couple of businesses in the AI space. One of them has to do with marketing, and the other one has to do with conversational AI. And pretty much now the latest one, which is our AI ecosystem, which I'll talk a little bit more about later today and throughout the week. So essentially, since about over a year ago is when I first came across AI. I started using different AI tools for like video editing, stuff like that. We started implementing, we started using some tools for like copywriting and things like that. And once ChatGPT came out, I realized the magnitude and the power of it, and I went all in. And pretty much for the past year, I have just gone all in on AI. I have been trying to figure out and really creating different ways to automate different things. So we've created like an AI funnel builder, automated funnel builder. We've created a GPT copywriter for LinkedIn posts. Some of you guys might have already tried some of that stuff. And we're constantly innovating in the space. So it's really exciting because a lot of this space doesn't exist yet. So at least for me, it keeps me very entertained, always trying to figure out, new solutions. I've worked with businesses from all sizes, anywhere from like, small mom and pops, founders, solopreneurs, all the way to Fortune Top 10. And I have been featured in places like Forbes, Business Insider, HubSpot, and other places. It's all been earned media. I haven't paid for a single placement. So just a little bit about me, just to let you know, not to brag or anything, but just let you know that what I'm about to show you is really try to test it, and it's something that we've been implementing with ourselves and with our clients. So in the past 12 months, one more thing, in the past 12 months, when I started posting about AI and I started taking LinkedIn even more serious than before, just by being consistent and by showing you what I'm going to show you today is how I was able to start generating more and more growth in terms of impressions, which led to more followers, which also led to more sales in business. Now, one thing that's important to know, and we'll talk about this at some point today, but just because you're getting a bunch of followers, it doesn't always mean that they're leads, and it doesn't always mean that it's a quality audience, right? So I'm going to show you how to actually build a quality audience, even if it takes a little bit longer, but you know that you're building an audience that's actually going to buy your stuff as you continue to grow. So let's get started. When it comes to sales, the very, very first thing that I can share with you is that sales, honestly, sales is like dating, right? You don't get married on the first touch point. So why would people try to book calls or sell your offer on the first message? I see this happen time and time again, where a lot of people just send you a cold email, and it's like, hey, here's my solution, blah, 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 blah. Do you have 15 minutes to spare? At that stage, the person that you're emailing has no idea who you are and doesn't even know if it's worth sparing 15 minutes. So you kind of have to look at it like that. There is a relationship process to it. And if we look at the funnel, there's a sales funnel. From the very, very top, this is you capturing the whole audience. This is capturing the whole market. So you have problem unaware. In marketing, this is usually your awareness stage. Yeah, right? So you have problem unaware. This is the stage where you start capturing attention, where you start showing and talking about different potential challenges that maybe they haven't even thought about yet. And this is all done through content, by the way. So the problem unaware stage, this is really where you start generating that like awareness, right? The problem aware stage is now when the people that are following you, your clients, your leads, whatever, they're starting to realize that, hey, maybe we do have a problem. So now we have to figure out how to solve it. Then the solution aware stage is now that they know they have a problem and now they're actively looking for solutions. And then ready to buy is when they're literally ready to buy, right? So usually you'll hear people call this the hot lead. These people are usually warm leads, and these people are usually cold leads. Cold because they just don't even know, or they don't care, they don't know about you. It's just not priority. Other words that you'll also hear is tofu, mofu, and bofu. What that stands for is top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So when you're like creating content, a lot of the times the content that goes viral is the tofu content. And the reason is because it's so generalized that it can attract more people. But the content that will attract the more buyers is the bofu, because it's going to give you a stronger call to action. You're going to be a little bit more clear in what it is. Maybe you'll have a harder a harder CTA. CTA stands for call to action. So the ready to buy stage is really what's going to drive sales. Now, I know that I mentioned that this is all done through content. So just to back up for a second, in order to improve your efficiency in lead generation, there are a lot of strategies to go about this. But what I have found is that the whole entire sales process becomes so much smoother when you start prioritizing posting content. Because when you start posting content, you start attracting people that resonate with what you're talking about. You start attracting, even if it's like 2 people a week or 10 people a week, over time it compounds and then it becomes unstoppable. So you start attracting people that are actually resonating with what you have to say, that they're willing to learn what you have to say. And by the time that they actually reach out for help, they already know how you work. They know your philosophy. They know everything. They know you because they've been following you and reading your stuff. And sometimes it's just a matter of time until they reach out. So this is like one of the biggest things that I can encourage you to do. We're going to talk about how to use AI to do all of this. But just to give you some examples, so let me go ahead and pull these open. All right, so we have top of funnel. We have 3 top of funnel. These are top of funnel blurring with a little bit of middle of funnel. And it's top of funnel because here I'm addressing, and you can read these also like later on in your own time. There's a bunch of examples, but I'm addressing something that people don't even know that this is a problem. So this post is highlighting the fact that you guys don't even know there's a problem, but I know there's a problem. And then this part is more like middle of funnel. So it's kind of like blurring the lines because here I'm just sharing a bunch of like case studies and examples of how it works, right? So that's an example of top of funnel. There's a couple more here you can see, and I'm going to show you in just a few minutes how to use AI to create a bunch of these. Now, if you see all of these posts, there's one thing that kind of stands out for all of them. There's a hook. And a hook pretty much just stands for something that captures your attention in the first 2 lines. If you don't catch someone's attention in the first 2 lines, the rest of the post is going to be very hard for them to understand, or not to understand, to read, because they haven't even stopped, right? So same thing happens when you're posting YouTube or Instagram Reels or TikToks. If you don't capture their attention in the first like 3 seconds, the rest of the video is pretty much not going to be watched. Same on LinkedIn. If you don't capture their attention with the hook, it's very unlikely that they'll read the rest of the post because they have to click view more and all of that, right? So that's essentially the top of funnel. Now, middle of funnel, as you can see here, middle of funnel is now talking to people that are a little bit more problem aware, right? People that understand what funnels are and people understand what that is. And then I talk about how we were able to solve it with automation. And then as you can see here, these are bottom of funnel. So now bottom of funnel, you can see they're more like case study related type of things. Where the bottom of funnel is essentially same thing. Hook and then content and then just having like a little bit of a harder call to action, right? So these are all bottom of funnel, and you can see that these all have this one too, a call to action. Send me a DM, blah, 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 right? So you can see that the call to action is there. So yeah, Gamma is a AI presentation tool. So that's a great question. Yeah, I started using this a little off track, but yeah, I started using this maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I've become obsessed. So yeah, anyway, so there's top of funnel, there's middle of funnel, there's bottom of funnel. You guys can go through this material and like study it and look at it. I'm gonna show you right now how to actually create it yourself. So before diving into the content piece, I want to just make sure that we're on the same page of what is a lead. Followers do not equal leads. I mentioned this like earlier today. Followers does not equal leads. Someone that follows you, that does not mean that they're in the market for your solutions. Maybe they're starting to be intrigued about, maybe they saw one post and they liked what you said, right? But it doesn't mean that it's a lead for your business. Someone that follows you is simply someone that just potentially liked what you said. That's it. There is no emotional buy-in. There's no relationship established. They just saw something you posted and they hit the follow button. It's very, very, very still cold. There is no relationship built. Now, someone that follows you and starts engaging with you, that's a little bit different, right? Because now they're actually going through the motions and they're engaging with you. They're showing interest in what you're saying and stuff like that. But when they actually become a lead is when they show interest in your offer or your solution. Everything up till that, it's kind of just like networking. The second that they demonstrate interest in your offer or solution, now you can start the whole sales sequence. And I see this happen all the time. A lot of sellers on LinkedIn, immediately the first cold message, I'm sure you've probably seen this. First cold message is like, hey, thanks for the connection. Buy my thing. Here's the thing. Here's how you book a call. And you don't do it. And 2 days later, they're like, so are you still interested? But you were never interested, right? And then 3 days later, they're like, hey, but bumping this up, don't forget to schedule a call. And you were never interested in the first place. And it's so annoying. And I know we've all received those kind of messages. So a follower is not a lead. A lead is a lead when they show interest in what you have to offer. Up until then, they treat them as a networking acquaintance. And if you can do discovery on them to see if they are a lead, you can reach out and ask questions. You can poke and probe and all of that. But you cannot pitch a call or your offer or a follow-up to book a call if they don't even know what you do or what you offer. And the problem is that 3, 4, 5 years ago, this was the norm because there was not a lot of people spamming everybody. But now there's so many people selling stuff online that we really have to stand out. So the strategy that the people that's called spraying and praying. You just reach out to everyone and hope that 1% answers. The strategy that they have, I mean, in theory, it makes sense, but it's just a lot of work. In theory, it makes sense. They say if you reach out to 10,000 people a day, via email or whatever, even if 1% answers, maybe that will lead to 1 client a week. But the amount of work and money and energy that you have to spend to be able to generate that amount of volume to reach out to is ridiculous, right? And also, not to mention, if you're sending cold email, all the costs associated with the cold email tools to send that. So the way to do it is to be more targeted. And we'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow and the next day, but you really want to be hyper targeted on who your ideal buyers are so that you don't waste time with all these other people and you just focus on specific people that are going to buy your solution. Because if you've ever, look at your own track record of success, whenever you focus your energy onto something, you usually achieve it. So if you have 10 people that you focus on, you know for sure you're going to be able to convert something there. But if if your energy is spread out across 10,000 people that you don't even know, it's going to be a guessing game. And that's probably one of the worst things to do, especially in a market that's like how it is right now. So that's the one thing that I would encourage you to do. Make sure that you understand that just because they follow you or just because they connect with you or just because, whatever the case is, it doesn't mean that they're interested in your solution. They don't even know yet. And they don't even know yet because they're probably still at the very top of the funnel, right? So through content, you'll be able to do that, even through reaching out to them. So let's dive into content. Before actually, I'll do a quick pause here. Before I dive into the lead generation content, any questions, comments about the previous stuff? Sometimes they get snarky too. They do, yeah. Sellers are very interesting. Okay, so the goal with lead generation content is to create a post that encourages engagement, but engagement and targeted engagement, I should say. Targeted, not just fluffy, like, great post, but targeted engagement towards your skills, your solutions. So the best thing, and I have tried this multiple times and I have iterated on this multiple times. The best thing, and this is today, I'm going to show you probably like the most streamlined way. The best way to do this is to think about it. The piece of content that you're going to create is going to be like some sort of case study, right? Some asset that you can give away to give value. That's essentially what you're going to think about. So essentially, what you're going to do to generate these leads is you're going to write a post, include a freebie. I'll show you examples in a minute. Write a post, include a freebie, some asset that you can give away, and then encourage them to either comment or DM you to get access to that. That is essentially the whole point of this. And why you want to do that is because 2 reasons. Number one, if you build something of value and you give it away for free, it can be prompts, it can be, AI tools, whatever you decide to do, you add value into the marketplace. So now you're standing out because you're not just another person that is spraying and praying, hoping that you buy their stuff. You're actually showcasing how you can help, how you've been able to solve something. And then that allows you to build goodwill and position yourself because now people are going to get access to that. You also trick the algorithm because the more people that start commenting on your post, now the algorithm starts putting your content out to more people, right? It starts spreading out to more and more and more people. Now, the thing with this one is that whatever you give away has to be targeted. It can't just be something very generalized that's going to attract people that aren't ideal buyers. I'm going to show you how in a minute, but that's essentially what you want to do. Now, people are going to start commenting, right? They're going to start leaving comments asking for the post, for the freebie. Do not DM them unless they DM you. And the reason is because you only have 20 connection requests per week. So if you have 20, 30, 40 people commenting that they want the asset, the resource, you're going to get blocked for like a couple of days from messaging or adding people. So comment back in the comment section, wait like a few hours, comment back in the comment section, and then anyone that DMs you, that's fine. You can DM them. And I would actually encourage the DMs because that's going to position them higher on the intent scale. They're going to actually be more, since they DM'd you, they took an extra action step to actually connect with you to get the resource, which also indicates that they could be in a higher position of pain because they want your solution. Does that make sense? So I would encourage the people that, whoever's commenting, comment back. If anyone DMs you, DM them back. As you scroll, yeah, it's 20 comments are unlimited, but 20 connections per day. Yeah, that should be day, sorry. Great catch, Tim. So 20 connections per day, 100 connections per week is the cap. So whatever you do, don't DM all the commenters. Now, if you see any ideal buyers in there, now you can pick those apart because you have 20, right? So you have 20 people that you can send out connection requests per day. So now you start building your little list on the side and you're like, okay, here's 20 people that do look like my ideal client avatar. Now, if they're first degrees, meaning they're already connected with you, that is different than sending 20 connection requests. So normally what I do is I send my first degrees a DM, and then I'll show you what I do in a minute, but essentially I have the first degrees, you can DM those. People that are commenting, you can comment back to those, and then DM anyone who DMs you, you can DM them back and start the whole qualification sequence as well. So each post is going to be made up of 3 components. You have your written post, an image, a video, or a carousel, and a digital file to give away. To show you how to do that, hang on, I think I gotta go back in presentation mode. Here we go. Okay, so to show you how to do that, we covered all this. Yep. We can use ChatGPT to get started with this. So this is the prompt. I'm gonna share it in the chat. I'm gonna start a new chat here. And anyone want to volunteer what your service or offer is? VAs, I sell what is it? VA service? VA virtual assistant placement service. Tim, to who? AI powered virtual assistants. And it's a placement service, right? You like train and place them? Entrepreneurs of 1 to 10 agencies and tech companies. Great. All right, so I'm gonna put that into ChatGPT. And this is gonna help us create the whole entire thing. So you're gonna see here. And I'm gonna tie it all together so you can see how this all works. So all the other people that are posting that in the chat, if you copy the prompt above, drop it into ChatGPT, you can change the stuff in bold and in brackets, your service offers target audience. You can change this part to what it is you offer and who you sell to. As you can see, here's an example. All right, so let's go back here. Okay, so we have buyer persona. So I'm starting off by understanding buyer persona. Buyer persona, as you can see here, I have very minimal information on demographics because that doesn't really matter for our purposes. What matters for our purposes is psychographics, psychological triggers, pain points, desires, stuff like that. I also included fears and aspirations, misconceptions, internal motivations, and things that keep them awake at night. This is all really crucial for your marketing content. This is all very crucial for all of the any offers that you're creating, any solutions, whatever it is. These are kind of like the things that AI is telling you that it's most likely going to be a problem. So then I take that into my next step here. And then basically I'm just going to copy this one. So now that I have my psychological triggers, I'm just going to copy the next prompt, which says, act as a revenue conversion expert. Our sales funnel is tofu, mofu, bofu. Write 5 content ideas for each funnel stage that will be relevant to my ideal buyer persona. Yeah, I'm using 4. You guys can try with Claude or Gemini. I've tried these just on ChatGPT-4. But 4 is going to be significantly a little bit better than 3.5. Let me see. Yeah, so Michael, if you scroll up to the top, there's we're popping the prompts in the chat. So and Cyril did too. So let me just everybody has access to them right now. So here's number 1 while ChatGPT generates. Here's number 2. As you can see, the second one, you don't have to edit anything. You just have to see what it creates. So this is, as you can see, it's giving you ideas. This is just for your own personal knowledge. I know that some people in here want to get better at creating content, writing content. You can run this multiple times. You can actually go dive in deeper and you know onto each different thing. But as you can see here, it's giving you ideas, the hidden cost of doing everything yourself. This is top of funnel. A day in the life of a tech entrepreneur, time spent versus time wasted, right? These are all content ideas. So you never should run out of content ideas. Now, for the purpose of our lead generation content, we're actually going to focus on the case study example specifically. And the case study example is because, remember, we're creating a post, we're giving away a free asset, and then from there we're creating a post, creating a free asset, and then we're creating some sort of video or something to go along with it, an image, whatever you prefer. So that means that we got to create the asset before we can actually create the post. So that's essentially what this prompt is doing. Yeah, I'll send this conversation to you, Tim. So this third prompt is this one here. Here, we are creating a case study. And from here, you can see that there's a relevance score from 10 to 9, 8, 8. You know, it's just saying this is probably what's going to perform a little bit better. That's what this prompt is saying. It's giving you examples of case studies that this ideal buyer persona would like to see. And then it's giving a relevance score. So when it comes down to, you know, let's just go with this example. I'll go to the next one. If you don't have a case study, this is another question that I get all the time. If you don't have a case study, you can just continue. So let's just pretend in this scenario, Tim, if you do have a case study, this is where you would pop it in. Otherwise, let me see. Yeah, case study. So I'm just gonna go with this example here. And as you can see, this is the highest relevance score. So I'm gonna copy that in this bracket area here. And as you can see here, it's going to now, essentially what it's going to do is it's going to create some sort of search query. Let me simplify this a little bit more. We're going to open Perplexity AI, by the way, it's free. I'm going to pop that in and see what it comes up with, but I might have to simplify it a little bit more. Yeah, so let me simplify that more. So the tech startup, struggling with growth spurts. I'm going to erase the percentages so it doesn't trip us up here. Essentially, if you don't have a case study, so just so everyone understands, the first task that we need to create is the case study. If you don't have a case study, you borrow an industry case study. An industry case study is something that has already been proven in the market, and then you have solutions that are similar to that industry case study or can pretty much prove out what it is that you're trying to do. So you leverage an industry case study to demonstrate what it is that you want to do. I'm going to show you examples of how I did mine, but I just want to walk you through the steps really quick. So in this one, it's giving us, hang on, it's giving me, let's see. And the reason why I'm copying it into Perplexity is because Perplexity uses AI instead of just regular Google. So it can actually give us a little bit more better information. So it's still giving me a hard time. So I'm just going to make it more simple. Also, probably because the topic is still sort of new, so that's probably why there's not a lot of case studies out there. So scaling efficiently with virtual assistants. Let me make it a little
Can I just try a bit?
I'm sorry? Oh, hang on. Let's make sure everyone's muted. All right. Okay, here we go. So we have some better responses now. So yeah, sometimes you just gotta tweak it, make it easier for ChatGPT to understand. Company C. I don't know if that's a real company, but that's why I like Perplexity, because it has a little button here at the end. And that 4, it means that it's gonna take you to the actual source, where ChatGPT won't do that, right? So this is why we went to Perplexity. Let's see if we didn't find anything useful there. We'll just try a couple of these till we find something. And then here, so the thing with AI, the thing with AI is that AI is newer, so it's gonna be a little bit harder to prove to leverage industry case studies, although there is a lot of data that you can leverage. But if you just want to, like, just for our purposes, if we just want to keep it a little bit simple, here, let's do just virtual assistants, and I'm sure we're gonna find a lot of companies. And now we just copy that. And again, you can read through. There's a lot of case studies in here too, so I'm sure there's something in there as well. Oh, 1 second, I have to rewrite that. Companies including here we go. So, as you can see, these are like companies that have been successful leveraging virtual assistants. Now, what you would do is you would just copy one of these. So before I copy that, actually, next prompt, as you can see here, I have an example of Perplexity. This is the next prompt. And this is probably, wait a minute. Yeah, so next prompt is actually generating the case study. This is the entire prompt. So, Laura, it's two different use cases. So the reason why I used ChatGPT-4 is for anyone that struggles. You can skip this step, but I know that a lot of the times people struggle with how do I word that, or how do I ask that to Google? So we just used ChatGPT to help us come up with some ways to word that. As you can see, it gave us some examples. And instead of popping it into Google and having to go through all the Google ads and all the things to finally find something useful, I just went straight to Perplexity because Perplexity provided me exactly with what I needed. I had to tweak the wording around a little bit. But then from there, it gave me like four different examples. So, and then Perplexity also gives you the link where you can learn more, whereas ChatGPT will not give you that. So you can actually make sure that it's, a fact-checked article. So now this is the one that is going to that's going to take a little bit more tweaking. This is the longer one. I don't know if it'll fit in the chat. All right. Hopefully I don't lose you with this one, but let's try this together. So this is the insert subject. Anything that's in brackets, you update. So act as a market research, generate a case study about companies successful in scaling with virtual assistants. From there, I would grab if we're using an industry related case study, right? Not your own. Then you would pick, let's say that we go with Lash Tribe, beauty business. And then how Lash Tribe accomplished something. So here we would put scaled with virtual assistants. If you leave time period blank, it will hallucinate. So if you can find it, that would be great. If not, then you can just skip it. So let's see. Normally they'll say like in about the virtual assistant, Julia. All right, so while that loads, I'll keep going. And then without general misconceptions, pain points. So this is probably going to be, oh, it's not loading. Here, let's use WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a lot bigger company. So let me just switch that out really quick. And then if we can find it, that'd be great. Otherwise, we can also ask Perplexity. We can ask, how long did it take WhatsApp to scale? And then here's also where your misconceptions would come in from your audience avatar. So if you look up here, there's misconceptions. So you can leave this, most likely it'll pull from here. And then the insert data that you found is really the only thing that you want to update here, other than like whatever the initial stuff that we updated. So this is what I'll copy in here. And then if you have any additional insights, you can update these here. Otherwise, you can just roll the dice and see what ChatGPT generates. And then if you like it, great. If not, you just go back to the drawing board. So remember, always ChatGPT is an ideation tool. You can always just roll with it. You can edit it. It's not always going to have the final say. At the end of the day, you're going to have to be the CEO of your operations and make sure that you read and fix whatever it is that, doesn't resonate with you or your business. So as you can see here, I didn't end up putting this information here. It already added that on its own. I added this information. As you can see here, the popular messaging app was able to scale. As you can see, it reworded that information. And then it's talking about the old way. Now, Tim could actually go in here and edit this to make sure that it's more along the lines of AI, how AI can do this better, AI virtual assistants, stuff like that. And then this is where you would then put your call to action of how it is that, what it is that you offer. So if you look at ours, for example, SaaS growth plan. Actually, I have it down here. If you look at this one, for example, we have how ClickFunnels scaled to 360 million, and then how we did the same, not to 360 million, but we generated similar revenue also following similar playbook. So introduction, then you have how ClickFunnels did it, then you have like me actually putting it to the test, right? Then you have, let me just scroll up a little bit. You have benefits, then this is basically, in other words, this is saying that the new way, the modern way. So I've reworded this a little bit to fit my wording, but essentially this is the old way, as you can see in the ChatGPT section. This is the modern way right here, the future. And then my call to action is, would this work for you? And then I go in and do a whole call to action, right? Would you like my support, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is how essentially this whole thing will be done. Now, ChatGPT will give you the main skeleton, but ChatGPT is not the expert of your business. So this is where you still have to go in and add your results, add your findings, add your things. This did give you the initial skeleton, but this is not going to give you the whole thing. Now, does this make sense so far? No problem, Tim. Yeah, I mean, honestly, AI is such a new space that it's always exciting building in here. And I think there's still a lot, even though we went through that example, I'm glad that we did, because there's a lot of people here trying to build an AI and there's just not a lot of data out there. So what you can do is use the data that exists, the human way, the regular manual way, and then create the modern way by just talking about how AI can make that whole entire process so much more efficient. So essentially it just becomes this Google Doc, and you can share this with your leads, you can share this with your clients. So I have here another example that you guys can also read through. Same exact thing. This is before I actually turned it into a template of modern way and new way and old way and all that. But same thing, it has the same similar structure. Here's what everyone's always doing. Here's what we did differently. Here's how you can work with us, etc. So those are like a couple of ways to do it, and how you can get ChatGPT to help you generate all of that in Perplexity. Now, anyone have any questions about the case study? The case study will be used. So not as like, you're not gonna give away an ebook because nobody really likes to read ebooks. They're too long. So you're just gonna give this away as a strategy document, right? So I'm gonna show you like examples of how, but before we get there, I think we already covered some examples actually. Let me pull it up here. This one, for example. This is how you give it away. This is how you tie it all in together. You have your post that I'm going to show you how to use with AI to generate this. You have your post here. You have a comment to please send me the training. And as you see through the comments, I'm sending people the training. Where I guess there's a bunch of new stuff in here. let me see. Oh my gosh. LinkedIn refused to connect. 1 second. The eclipse is making LinkedIn weird, I guess. All right,
Izzy, I
hang
have
on.
a question about the Google
trying again.
Docs.
Yeah.
Aren't you afraid that, I mean, don't Google Docs work in such a way that if someone else edits it, everybody will see the edit?
No, because you can actually, so for some reason it's not letting me load this. Let me copy this 1 second. So no, the reason why not is because you share it as a view only doc. So if I go back to the SaaS growth, when you share it, you just share it as a view only. See, anyone with the link, viewer. And then that's it. And if you want to be extra
Oh.
sure when you share it, just make sure that you change where it says edit to view. And then for sure, you know that they won't be able to see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or they won't be able to edit it, I guess. But anyways, putting all of this in action, this is the hook, this is the post, this is the call to action. And then as you can see, when people are asking for the guide, right, I'm saying like send or whatever the case is here, like check your DMs, etc., etc., right? So this is kind of how you use it. Now, this is a good thing that Michael said, that you can also send that as a PDF. The reason why I would recommend Google Docs rather than PDF is because you can come in and change this at any moment. And when you're giving away these types of resources, they're evergreen, so people constantly come back to look at it. They constantly, still, like I just clicked on that post and I saw there's people that haven't been answered yet, right? People, it's an evergreen piece of content. So if this month I'm promoting the boot camp, I can just go in here and change it to the boot camp. So the new people that are using it. So that's why it's a living document. And also you position it as a living document so that you have that, like, it's kind of like a peek behind the curtain kind of feel. That's essentially what you're trying to accomplish. That's the whole point of this. So, and you can add images, right? Like you can edit it and make it your own. As you can see, it has the same structure that ChatGPT helped us create, but then I went in and I personalized it so it sounds like me. And that's the most important part. I cannot stress this enough. This is the one thing that I always see people not do. Personalize it. This is your chance to share your thoughts, your process with the world, and generate leads from that and clients from that. So, how we structure the post is pretty simple. Essentially, you have your hook, your insights, your call to action, and your visuals. And I made it simple for you by just creating this prompt here that you can copy right below this whole thing. And yeah, I didn't have to change anything there. And then it's gonna write you your post. And then you just copy this. And you can go over to LinkedIn. And there's your post. And you can just delete old way, modern way. You can delete. Well, actually, you can probably keep that, but I would just delete hook. And I would delete, yeah, that's it. And then if you want to change the keyword to whatever, you can add some emojis or whatever the case is, right? So, and then just make sure that you read this and it makes sense. Especially if you're doing something AI powered, you would probably make sure that you add that into your prompt, or add that into your edit whenever you go back and edit this section. Make sure that you edit it inside of ChatGPT as well. So when it generates your post, it uses all of your latest information. Always keeping in mind that this is a public space, so don't share any IP, but just share like the generalized stuff that you can. And so anyways, now you have your post, you have your case study, and I just showed you this example, right, where you have your hook, your insights, your call to action, and then I actually put a line PS for faster support after you've done all of the above, DM me for a faster reply. So yeah, you can use Gamma. Gamma and Google Docs serve the same purpose because it's a living document. So basically this is how the post is structured. Does anyone have any questions about the post or the case study so far? If you have your own case study, use your own case study. I use my own case study. But if I didn't have a case study of a really large SaaS company, I still talked about how I was able to launch the same and still generate results using an example like ClickFunnels. So, any questions or anything like that? We clear?
Yeah. Hi,
Cool.
Izzy. Where do you host the video? Like when you have a tutorial, you say you
Oh,
promise
great.
a
Yeah, great question.
tutorial video. Where do you host it? As a YouTube or?
That's a great question. So I just use Loom, and then I download Loom to my computer, and I upload it to LinkedIn. So this is like literally what I'll do. I'll have I'll open up Loom here, and then oh, I have to sign into the other account. Anyways, I open up the Loom, and then I just start talking through the document. The other thing that I'll also do is I'll just grab Loom, and I'll just do a quick 2-second screen recording, no voice, nothing. And then I'll just pop that into 1 second. Let me log in. I'm already logged in. Cool. I'll pop that into Canva, and then I'll put actually, what do I put here? I think video or image. And then here you can upload your video, your screen recording. And when you download, you can download here. I'll just put something. When you download here, you can download as a GIF. So this is how I created this post here. Let me go back there.
Then so you send people to a LinkedIn video rather than to somewhere else? You
Yeah,
have like
because
a
LinkedIn doesn't like
separate.
it when you send them out somewhere else. This is
Yeah.
a GIF, for example. I just did a screen recording of my document, and then I uploaded to Canva, downloaded as a GIF, because GIF also performs pretty well on LinkedIn. So I downloaded it as GIF, and then it also has that like, oh wow, look at this content I'm not getting kind of effect. So then yeah, so that was the GIF. Now you can also do a video. One of these posts I actually did, I think it was send me the training. Actually, this post here, I created same thing. It's a GIF, but what I ended up sending them was the link to a YouTube video. So you can see here, I explained it all in the YouTube video. When you go to the YouTube video, now this is because I'm also growing the YouTube. If you don't have YouTube, don't do that. But as you can see here, the continuation happens, comment guide, and then it's still an ongoing thing, right? And people still comment. So yeah, that's kind of like, if you're building YouTube, then yeah, for sure use YouTube as your continuation lead magnet, because it's still a training, and a longer training at that. It's 20 minutes. On LinkedIn, you can only post 15. So it really just, you can vary. You can put carousels, you can put some of you guys know this. I have a post that hit like 1 million views. That was a carousel, and it was the same exact thing. I gave away AI tools, but giving away AI tools did not generate clients. It just generated a lot of like fluff, like, oh wow, that's so cool, I want that. So really, like, my focus is how can we maximize with what we have. And I realized when I started posting specific content, not generalized, but strategic to what we're doing and how we can help people, and all these different strategies, that's when we started seeing more lead flow, rather than just saying, here's 20 AI tools. It's a bunch of people that don't even fit your audience persona, and it is what it is. So that's like the biggest reason why I would recommend the whole case study thing. But yeah, you can see these are all videos on Loom. I opened up Canva whiteboard. So if you have Canva, you can just open up the whiteboard here. Where is it? Whiteboard. And then you can just start doodling, or you can start talking. You can put, whatever it is. You can doodle while you record yourself. And then download it and then upload it into LinkedIn. So those are great questions. Someone asked earlier, excuse me, someone asked earlier about video format versus image, and I wanted to answer that really quick. So what I have found is for lead gen, oh, the sky's getting a little dark. For lead gen, you can definitely post video, I would recommend. For images, I wouldn't recommend that so much. You can put like a selfie here and there, but what I have found is that even though our videos don't get like a ton of impressions, it drives the most leads, because you get to talk about your processes, your philosophy, the way you think, right? And people find that more valuable than just a little image or a selfie or a stock photo. So It's really weird, but or I guess it's not that weird, but it's really interesting. Images don't really drive that many leads. Um, Videos drive a lot of leads, and then carousels, of course, always drive a lot of leads and shares, but it just takes a little bit longer to post and stuff like that. I would treat carousels more as like top of funnel content. So yeah, these are all great questions. All right, so we're almost done here. I think we have the case study examples. So we created the post, and then going back to how to post. So try to post at least 3 to 5 times per week. It doesn't always have to be a case study. The case study, it does take a lot of work to reply, and you got to make sure that you're available to reply and to DM people. I made the mistake that one time I posted GPT. I gave away a GPT. It generated like 1,000 opted in leads in like 3 days. And I was literally driving the whole entire time. I was driving back and forth to New York for a last minute thing. So it was like probably the worst timing ever, because with these kind of things, it's speed to lead. You got to be available. You got to have some time blocked out where you can actually reply to people, see if there's anything top of mind that they need help with, and try to convert those people into an appointment, or another opt-in lead or whatever it is. So when it comes to like the case study funnel, I would try to limit that like once a week, because it is going to take time for you to reply through all the people. It's a great problem to have. You're creating yourself a lead flow, which is exactly what you want. So it's a great problem to have. Now, just make sure that you understand if your post underperforms, don't get discouraged, don't throw in the towel, don't do any of that. If anything, just make sure that every time it's an opportunity for you to get better, for you to understand your market better, for you to get better at finding your voice. So the only way to really fail at this is if you quit. So whatever you do, just don't quit. My post I was just sharing, I had a post that hit 1 million views. I posted that 3 times before I got traction. The first time I got like barely a couple thousand, if any. Second time I think I got like 18,000, and then the third time I got 1 million views. I had to post it 3 times in a 3-week period for it to get traction. So don't be afraid to like repost your stuff. And also, like, the algorithm changes all the time, right? So you also have to understand there's so many different variables and triggers that if it doesn't perform well, then it just doesn't perform well, and just keep going, repost it. It's now a content that you can use everywhere. If anything at all, you now have better insights into how your process works, and it's only going to continue to make you better. And just do that consistently over time. If there's anything that I could go back on, so I really try to like not have regrets, but probably the biggest mistake that I've ever done is not posting sooner. I've been working in social media since like 2018 or 2019. I should have started posting sooner, but I didn't. I just started taking this seriously like a year ago, after helping so many clients and so many of our, people over the past few years. So don't let this mistake, don't repeat that mistake. The sooner that you get started posting, every post is like always the first post is going to be the hardest, but as you get better at it and more confident with it, it's going to get easier. And then lastly, I know we're about to hit time here, but lastly, what's this? Oh, funnels. So, you can make this a little bit better by having funnels, but I wouldn't recommend starting here if you're just trying to wrap your head around LinkedIn. If you're a little bit more experienced, you have funnels already, if you already understand that whole process, then you can for sure use funnels. We can help you with that as well. But I wouldn't start here if you're just starting to like wrap your head around LinkedIn and content creation and all of that, because it's gonna add that block. It's gonna add a layer of blocks. So I would just start with the Google Doc or a Gamma, whatever you want to do, and the LinkedIn content. And once you get better at that, you can improve it, right? You can have like some funnel examples here. Like we have this, you opt in, you get the download. You have same here with this one is the one I was showing you. You click here and you get the download. So you can get funnels. That's more of an advanced thing. We'll talk about this more over the next couple of days, but I wouldn't necessarily like stress about that right this second. What I would like to encourage you to do, I think there is about 5 prompts. I think you guys counted right. So what I would like to encourage you to do as a piece of homework, let me just scroll down to the bottom. So as a piece of homework, what I would like you to do is to brainstorm what your case study is. If you already have one, then that's great. Generate it using ChatGPT, edit it, of course, write your post using ChatGPT, film a video. It just has to be like a 2, 4, 5 minute video explaining what it is and post it on LinkedIn. And if you're afraid to post, let us know in the Slack channel. Cyril, thanks for sharing that. Let us know in the Slack channel. We'll be there to support you. We'll be there to like review whatever it is that you want us to review. And then when you do post, just tag me so I can see it and go and comment and support you. But I would encourage you to do that this week because again, the best way to get results is to take action, right? So I'm gonna post the replay. I'm gonna share this. How do we share this thing? Hang on. Let me figure this out really quick. I'm gonna share this so you guys can have all the prompts. Here we go. Share. All right, so share, anyone with the link, view, copy link. All right, so here you guys go. This is the whole entire presentation for today. We'll upload the replay in about 2 hours, and then just make sure that you join the Slack. Post it in your company page as well. Of course, post it in your link on your personal, your company, and then tag us because this is really effective. This works. Every time we've helped someone do this, it works. On the last boot camp, we had one client, literally one boot camper, take action immediately, and he got like one booked call the first day of the boot camp, right? So this stuff is really effective, and at least for now, it is effective. I don't know if it'll work in 2 years or in 6 months. I don't know. But do it now because the longer you progress, the longer you delay things, the more things start to change and everything just becomes more difficult.